Alright guys, this is actually a reshoot, a long overdue reshoot. I originally did a review of this whiskey and I didn't like it all that much, so I took it down. This is Jameson's Irish whiskey. Jameson, John Jameson established the brand basically in 1780. Ironically, he's a Scotsman, but this is the best-selling Irish whiskey in the world, and it's one of the best-selling whiskeys overall in the world. 31 million bottles are sold a year on average. Now this is just their standard expression without an actual age statement on it. They have other established expressions, of course. They have two different 12-year-old expressions. One's called Special Reserve. Another one is called Distillery Reserve, which you apparently can only buy at the actual distillery. And they got a Gold Reserve, which uses, I guess, virgin American oak barrels. They have an 18-year-old. They have something called Rarest Vintage, Signature Reserve, and they got something called Select Reserve, also known as Small Batch. Typically, they're all aged in sherry butts, bourbon barrels, and port pipes, apparently. The grain bill for it's typically a 50-50 blend of pot still and grain whiskey. So they're all blended whiskeys, of course. One of the big drawing points of this whiskey is generally it's well known to be very, very smooth, easy to mix with just about anything, or just drink straight without having to think about it too much. And the price is very, very affordable, extremely affordable price point actually. Here in Nova Scotia, this 375 milliliter bottle will only cost you $17.99. To get a 750 milliliter bottle, it would only cost you $31.99. That's of course just this bare bones expression. The actual 12-year-old and the higher ups are more in the range of $40 and above, right? But that translates to outside of Canada to about only 20-some dollars for a 750 milliliter bottle of that, and it's a fairly good quality whiskey compared to a lot of stuff out there, so it's actually a pretty good deal. So we're going to get into the review here in a moment and see what we think about it. Alright, back with the Jameson Irish whiskey, or Jameson Irish whiskey, I should say. You might have seen recent commercials for this brand where they have Jameson getting knocked off a ship, or actually diving off a ship to get one of his barrels of whiskey that apparently fell overboard, and then getting attacked by a giant octopus and shit like that. I'm holding on to this bottle for a while. Alright. Definitely a golden, golden straw color. Very light amber sort of color. So we'll go right to see the legs there, look okay. Yep, so we'll go right to the aroma. Get some white fruit notes up front. A bit of graininess. There's this really green grassiness to it, and then it's got this sort of a harsh grain aroma. Not much in the way of alcohol. The alcohol is very, very tame in the nose. A little bit of oak, but not a lot. It's not particularly complex in the aroma. It's, you know, fairly standard, straightforward. Smells okay, you know, it's nothing amazing. So we'll go right to the taste now. Up front again, pretty sweet. Again, very grainy. Almost kind of harsh in its graininess. Like it feels kind of messy, actually. It's not very smooth in a way that like the flavors blend together very well. Like it jumps all over the place. It's lacking a lot of depth and character, basically, which I guess makes it really good for mixing in drinks and stuff like that. And I guess the drink's fairly smooth, but there's not a lot to it. Finishes with a very, very mild oakiness. There's a bit of sherry sweetness there. Not a lot comes out at all, really. There's just not a lot there, really. All the other sweetness there is this sort of typical grain taste. There's a bit of a green leafiness quality to it, but that's about all the variation you really get in the taste overall. As I mentioned before, the biggest attraction to this is basically how bland it is compared to a lot of other whiskeys, and the price point. It's a very accessible whiskey for people, and that's probably gone a long way towards its popularity, of course, right? I can give it a recommendation, but it's a very bare minimum one. Like, if you're just getting into whiskey, it's one to definitely try out because it's very cheap. Like, it's very, very cheap, so it'll give you a bit of an idea of what you're getting into if you want to start trying some higher quality whiskey and stuff like that. But for anyone who's already doing like scotches and stuff like that, this is it's a bit of a disappointment, really. Yeah, so apparently the other expressions outside of this one some of them are apparently pretty damn good, and I like to get a hold of some of those. I think there's one or two in the SLC that I'm going to try to get my hands on that are apparently like just head and shoulders above this. Not that that would take much, but so Jameson, just the standard expression without any age on it. It just gets a very bare pass from me as a recommendation, and that's purely for those who are curious, like just getting into whiskey. You might want to try this one, get it out under your belt, get it out of the way. Anyone else who's been drinking whiskey for a while now, they probably already know anyway, but if you haven't come across it and you've been doing scotches, nice like Islay scotches and things like that, there's nothing to find here that you're going to really appreciate, I don't think. So that's it. We'll see you again soon or later. Who knows? Cheers, guys.